All right, guys. Welcome into the AfterSchrock. So I'll give everybody a few moments to get joined up here before we start rocking and rolling here. But I got some funny stories to share with you today, I think. Just stuff that's not necessarily tech related, stuff that wouldn't have fit on the radio show, but stuff that is interesting nevertheless. So, yeah, we're going to do more segments on Black Friday stuff as time goes on, guys, and we're going to go into more detail about what to look for when you buy computers and what to look for when you buy laptops specifically, what kind of features are kind of outdated, and what kind of stuff is being removed. For example, a lot of you may not realize this, but most of your laptops no longer have Ethernet ports. So yeah, you can't hook up a wired Ethernet connection to most new laptops anymore. And that's because they're so thin and skinny now. There's no place to put the port. They're thinner than the actual port is. And there's nothing wrong with this because the wireless technology now is so good that, you know, if you're trying to put together a computer and get it on the internet, I mean, the wireless is just as fast as the wired anymore with the new gen wireless stuff. So as long as you've got the 802.11ac, not having an Ethernet port is fine. But if you buy a new laptop and you don't have a wireless router at home, which admittedly is not is very few people, but if you don't have a wireless router at home, you won't be able to get internet on your computer without buying an additional little dongle to plug into the USB port to give you an Ethernet port. Just as an example, the computer that I'm using to stream the show right now does not have an Ethernet port. So I have a USB dongle hooked up to it so I can cable it to the wall because the Wi-Fi in here bounces around a lot and it's not really conducive to doing a live broadcast on Facebook when your internet's bouncing up and down all the time. So fun times there. So I'm going to drop a link here for you. This is a business in Omaha called West Omaha Cryotherapy. And I don't know if you've ever heard of cryotherapy. And cryotherapy is basically lowering your body temperature to reduce inflammation. And they claim all these other benefits. Like they claim that you'll burn 800 calories in the cryotherapy chamber in like 3 minutes, which would be amazing because, you know, I got on the treadmill yesterday for like 50 minutes and I only burnt 600 calories. So if I could get in this chamber for 3 minutes and just deal with really, really cold temps for 3 minutes and then burn 800 calories, I could go eat anything I wanted and just go back into the get rid of the food chamber and then food, right? So the lovely Kimberly says, you know, she's had a couple aches and pains and stuff and some joints, and, you know, I'm getting older, so I'm getting aches and pains all the time now too. So she says, we should go try this cryotherapy thing. And I'm like, okay, we can go try it. What the heck? So we go in there, and I'm like, I keep meaning to look it up. I keep meaning to go online and, like, what is cryotherapy? How does it work? What should I expect? But I never had time. I was working too hard. And finally, I just said, well, whatever, and it was time to go. So we went there, and so they used this nitrogen gas to drop the temperature of a chamber. So you get in, like, it's basically a tube, like a pipe. The door opens up, you step into it, and they shut the door, and they pump cold nitrogen gas up from your feet all the way up, and it comes up to about your neck. And there's like a cloud of nitrogen gas around your neck, right? So you tip your head back so you can breathe oxygen, because you can breathe the nitrogen, it doesn't hurt you, but it doesn't have any oxygen in it. So your lungs are happy because as long as you're pushing gas, your lungs don't care that it's not oxygenated. But you get a little lightheaded if you start breathing it because you're not getting any oxygen. So anyway, you get in this thing, and the first thought that occurs to me, and of course, the brain-mouth filter doesn't always engage for me. So like, I go in there and I'm like, yes, I want to be a human Dippin' Dot. For those of you who don't know, Dippin' Dot ice cream is nitrogen frozen ice cream. They sell in little cups, like little pebbles of ice cream, and you eat it. It's ice cream basically in little pebble form because they freeze it with nitrogen gas. So yeah, that's the same nitrogen gas they're going to pump into the tube with me, the human Dippin' Dot, in the tube. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So the lovely Kimberly is brave about this the whole time. And she's like, quit whining, you know, whatever else. So then we get in there, and then there's this chamber, and it's going, brr, 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 and, you know, gas pumping clouds of gas out. And literally, I looked at the lady, and I'm like, so you're going to wake me up in like 20 years, right? And she's like, what? Get it? Cryogenics? Putting you to sleep with extreme cold for a long period of time, waking you up in the future? Imagine how that would work. We could do like a Thorstradamus segment, except it would be like in the future. No. So she goes, it's not quite like that. It's not going to be quite that cold. I'm like, oh, okay. So how cold is it? Oh, don't ask that question. Negative 240 degrees. What? You have to wear these little gloves and you have to wear socks, and they provide the socks because they don't want you to wear your socks because there might be a little bit of moisture like between you in your socks because feet sweat. You might have a little moisture in your sock, and when you have moisture in your sock and you hit that with negative 240 degree liquid nitrogen or gaseous nitrogen, yeah, you're gonna get frostbite. So yeah. So you have to wear protective gear, basically, on your hands and your feet, and then you get in there and they pump this gas in. So the lovely Kimberly sees this and she says, "You can go first." And I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm going first. Sounds good." So I'm like, "Okay, I have to do this for 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes, right? Anybody can handle anything for 3 minutes." It was cold. It was like that Boy Scout camp out you went on where it wasn't supposed to get down to freezing. So nobody brought gear for cold weather because it was supposed to be like in the 50s. But then for some reason it got down to the low 30s, and you are in like the lightweight sleeping bag and you're freezing and shivering. You're not cold enough to die, but you are cold enough to be extremely miserable for 3 minutes. So no, it wasn't miserable, but it was very cold. And they have you rotate like a turkey. So you face this way, then after 30 seconds you turn, and then you turn again. Yeah, you go all the different directions, and then and then when you're done, you get out, and you're cold, but you warm up really quickly. And honestly, I guess they say it can take up to 3 sessions to feel any kind of like inflammation, reduction from it. But I guess a lot of athletes, a lot of football players use this daily. A lot of athletes will use this every day. Olympic athletes use this stuff because they say it works. So you have to go back a few times to get the full benefit of it. But one thing I did notice is after I was done, I did feel a lot more energized. And my wife points this thing out. She says, the lovely Kimberly says, well, remember Ben Franklin would start every morning out by swimming naked in a cold river or some cold pond or something. And he claimed that it was refreshing and it was good for your health and your vigor. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of feel what he's saying now, like that cold shock, now my blood's pumping. I'm awake. I'm alert. It's like, wow, I got a little bit of a runner's high or something going here. So it's kind of neat. But anyway, the AfterSchrock, the human Dippin' Dot. Other fun things we did this week. Let me scroll down a little bit. I can't see the comments here, so I'm going to make sure I'm not boring the heck out of people. What do you think of DuckDuckGo? I have used it a couple times in the past. Here's the problem. It doesn't have the capability that Google has because it doesn't know what you're looking for before you know what you're looking for, like Google does. So you're going to have to actually... It's like a search engine from 2006, basically. But it works. It works really well. So if you're concerned about privacy, DuckDuckGo is a great search engine. So you're not going to hear me knocking it. I just don't use it particularly very often because I use Google because, unfortunately, for business-related stuff, there's some... marketing reasons why you want to use Google. They really make it worth your while, unfortunately. You mentioned you don't recommend buying the cheap Android tablets on Black Friday, etc. Why? Primarily, Jamie, because the cheap Android tablets are not upgradable. They don't have an over-the-air upgrade service. So if you get the current version of Android, they come out with a new version like every 6 months. And if you get more than 2 versions behind, you get kicked out of the Google Play Store. So the tablet is literally going to be good for like a year, and then it's going to be trash. The second thing is that the Chinese tablets are inherently unreliable. The construction quality is terrible, and this isn't like an anti-China rant. This is coming from somebody who has bought several Chinese tablets when we were evaluating different technologies for sale at Schrock, and we decided we weren't going to sell any of them because they were all crap. They were just bad. So you're going to have weird thing, camera cutting out, batteries going bad, swelling up on you, just different weird things like that. So the $30 cheapo tablets that they're going to offer for Black Friday, if you're going to get a kid a tablet and the kid is going to, potentially just bash the heck out of the tablet, that could be okay. Don't waste money on a case because the case will be more valuable than the tablet itself. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend buying the cheapo tablets. If you're going to get a Samsung tablet, or you're going to get like a Sony tablet, or an Asus tablet, something like that, primo, good stuff. Nice tablets, work really well, very upgradable, very updatable, backed by solid companies. It's those cheap Chinese knockoff tablets that are the ones that aren't backed by anything, and they have no support after you buy them. So you're never going to get an update or an upgrade for them. And they're all locked down now too, so you can't even root them. So that's fun times. Alrighty, let's see. Adam says something. Good. I'm glad you said something, Adam. Did the 1809 be a safe upgrade when Schrock notified me when it's re-released? Okay, great question, Loanne. You will not, if you did the 1809 update, if Safe Upgrade was able to install it for you, or we did it in the shop for you, when the new one, when this comes out, it's re-released, it will still be 1809 from Microsoft. You won't have to do it again. If there were any issues or patches that have to be released to fix things, Microsoft has already pushed those patches out to your computer, just like Windows updates. So you won't have to do anything. Everything is fine. If you have 1809, you're done. You're done until April. April will be the next big one, and everyone's going to be holding their breath because that one is going to have a slew of new features. 1809 laid the groundwork for all the. This update was more of like a preparatory update than an actual update. It laid the groundwork for all the technologies that are coming out in April, and it's going to be a big one. So that one, gosh, guys, hold your breath. That one's going to be fun. What is the harm in letting a computer go to sleep mode? All right, Jim, great question. This is why we're going to put the pro tip in the catalog. If you let your computer go to sleep mode when it's not in use, there are things your computer tries to do when it's not being used. So, for example, your computer has to do Windows updates. Your computer has to do virus scans to scan the hard drive for infections. Your computer may have other maintenance tasks depending on the type of hard drive. It wants to defrag your hard drive from time to time. Your antivirus also needs to do updates to download virus definition updates. So there are several things that happen. Your computer has an indexing service that looks at everything on the hard drive and then like bookmarks where it's all at so that when you search for a file, it finds it very, very quickly rather than having to search the hard drive in real time for it. So these are all things that happen during downtime when the computer is not in use. When Windows detects the computer is not being used for a period of time, it kicks off these automatic processes for you. If you turn your computer off or put it to sleep when it's not in use, what ends up happening is all of those tasks get procrastinated. And most of them can be procrastinated up to 14 days. After that, they become insistent tasks. They're going to do their thing whether or not you're using the computer. So then what happens is you turn on your computer to use it one day, and your antivirus engine kicks off a scan, it kicks off a definition update and then a scan. Your Windows operating system starts to defragment the hard drive. Windows Update starts downloading and installing patches. And all this is happening at the same time while all you want to do is check your email. So the end result is you have a terrible, terrible user experience on that computer because it's just running like dirt. So what do you do about that? If you really want to have the computer sleeping, some people like to turn it off because they just don't want it connected to the internet. They feel safer. It's not any safer, but they just feel safer. That's fine. Some people have cosmetic reasons. They don't want the light in the room. That's fine. You can still turn it off or shut the lid or do whatever. Just pick one day of the week that you're going to leave that computer on overnight and not in sleep mode. One day of the week. I usually recommend Sunday because if you have endpoint, that's scheduled to scan on Sunday. If you have a backup scheduled on your computer, I hope you don't think you're actually backing anything up. If your computer is asleep or turned off, the backup never fires, it never goes off, and it doesn't make it up. So the backups that we set up for customers are scheduled for Sunday nights. So leave your computer on all night, overnight, Sunday. That'll allow your backups to complete, your updates to install, your virus definitions to update, your secure updater to update. It will allow all these things to happen so that it's not trying to get it done while you're trying to do something with the computer. That's the big one there. DuckDuckGo is real, Keith. All right. If you're looking for a tablet, Keith has an Asus tablet he'll sell you. Okay. It's the Trading Post. All right. Sam, upgraded to 1809 a couple weeks ago. Everything's running fine. Am I sitting on a time bomb that's going to blow up on me? No, because all those things that I mentioned, Sam, Microsoft has pushed out updates for those now. So it's interesting because you install the 1809 update in the shop, and there are immediately 3 updates that have to be installed. And you're like, I just installed the new operating system that you released like 14 days ago. There's updates. Those updates are what fixes these problems so they don't happen for you. You've already received those updates for your computer, so you should be good to go. Would I recommend a Kindle Fire? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a Kindle. The Kindles are nice. They'll do the job. Let's put it that way. They'll do the job. They're affordable, especially with Amazon on Black Friday or Cyber Monday will put them on sale. They do every year. They are inexpensive to produce, which means they can discount them very heavily, and they work really well. And they're backed by Amazon, so they're going to have updates. That's the big thing. The updates are important. You want to make sure you can get new versions of the Android operating system for your tablets once you buy them. Brian says my internet service only allows me 300 gigs a month. Oh my goodness. 300 gigs a month. Well, let's see. Version 1809 of Windows 10 is going to be 4. Let's see. I'm trying to think of. It depends what you do with it. If you have an Xbox in your house, you have to keep in mind too. If your internet service provider provides you with 300 gigs a month, it's not just your computer that's using it. Any smart device that's connected to the internet is using it. So if you stream on your TV, that's using internet. If you have cell phones that jump on the Wi-Fi and they get updates, that's using the internet. 300 gigs a month is a significant amount of internet. If you don't stream at home, you'll probably be okay. But if you're streaming, if you're a cable cutter, the reason that all the cable companies especially have put limits on the amount of bandwidth you can stream is because people are getting rid of the TV service and adding all the streaming services and then paying just for the internet and streaming everything and saving money. Well, the internet or the cable companies are losing money. So the only way that they can try to recapture some of that lost money is to impose a limit on how much you can download and then charge you for however much you go over that limit. Cox does that, Comcast does it, almost every cell phone provider does it. On the other hand, the ones who don't do it, they usually punish you instead by throttling your internet connection. So once you go over a certain amount, your internet connection slows down to the point where it's very difficult to stream. You always get the little circle waiting, and then it goes on. So stuff to consider. All right. So to wrap up funny Halloween AfterSchrock, sometimes I can be immature sometimes. The lovely Kimberly and I found ourselves at Target on date day. We did a lot on date day. We had a lot of errands to run. You know, not everybody has the kind of marriage that we have where when we have date day, we hang out at Target. You know, that's a special kind of love right there. You know, we go in there and we just hang out at Target. They have a food court. You can go look at clothes. I mean, they have a toy section. They have an electronics section that has stuff that everybody already has. They have phones. They have tablets. They have TVs. They have 2 different computers that are both under $300 that are junk. External hard drives. You can get those there. Video games, you can get some of those there. Yeah, so anyway, we went to Target to run a couple errands. Like I said, on Friday we run some errands. It's hard to carry all the littles to Target with you, so we went to Target. And in the back of Target, they have Halloween costumes. And we see the most hilarious Halloween costume. It's a hot dog, right, with a face hole cut in it. And I'm like, come on. And she's like, Thor, don't, no. I'm like, no, I'm totally going to do this. So I go over there and I pull down the hot dog costume and I turn it upside down. It's a tube, of course, right? And I worm my way in and I pull it down over my face. My face is in the hole. I'm like, oh, wait, no, I'm a cool hot dog. Put my sunglasses down and I'm like, mystery hot dog man. And she's like, while I was putting the hot dog on, I'm just being funny. You know, I'm trying to amuse my wife here. It's date night. I'm trying to be a hot shot, right? And all of a sudden, when I look up, she's like, click. I'm like, oh no. Hot Dog Man has a picture now. I don't know where she's going to use that picture or what she's going to do with that picture. But I'm suspecting it's going to come back to haunt me at some point where I don't expect it. So word to the wise, if you're on date night with a woman that you love, it's not advisable to dress up as a giant hot dog. This pro tip brought to you by. No. All right, guys. Last call for questions. I'm going to get rolling here. So let me know if there's anything else that I can go over with you or help you out with. Oh, let me think if there's anything else that I didn't get to on the show today. Oh yeah. If you speaking of data limitations, if you have noticed that your data plan is getting eaten up really quickly. Now, when I mean really quickly, I mean like if you got a cell phone bill that was like $300 more than you thought it was because of data usage, it could be the Google News app. There's a problem with the Google News app right now that's causing it to use just unbelievable amounts of data. So if you notice your data is off the hook, it's the Google News app probably. All right. Last call, guys. All right, I got to get rolling. But thank you for joining us for the program today. Thank you for joining for the Aftershock. I appreciate it. Please like the show. Please share it on your timeline so that your friends and relatives and families can see it. It helps us spread the word about Schrock. We are a small business. We're a local business. My wife and I own Schrock. And so we have all the challenges that every local business owner has. We try to put on a really good show for you. We try to do really good with our service levels. We try to make sure that when you leave our service centers that you have the best possible technology solution that you can have. But the only way that we can continue to grow and we can continue to do that for people is by continuing to add additional customers. So if you like what we do and you like what we're doing here on the program, if you could share it with us, at least for the entertainment value. Where else can you go to hear about a tech guy that dresses up as a giant hot dog for his wife at Target? I mean, come on. And becomes a human Dippin' Dot on the same day. I mean, we're talking, I've got all the food groups covered here. We had bun, we had meat. No. All right, guys. Thanks for watching the program. Got to roll. Have a great week, and stay tuned for that 1809 update. That's going to come out sometime in the next few days. We'll pop you here on Facebook and let you know. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.